the architecture of everything. The message arrived not through technology, but through reality itself. Every atom in Elon Musk's body simultaneously vibrated with information, every quantum particle in his enhanced consciousness suddenly carrying data that redefined the possible. The architects weren't communicating, they were temporarily rewriting the fundamental constants of physics to create a language that consciousness could understand. We acknowledge the species designation, humanity, came the voice that wasn't a voice, experienced simultaneously by every enhanced mind on Earth. Your request for contact as equals has been noted with interest. Musk stood in the newly constructed reality interface chamber beneath SpaceX headquarters, surrounded by instruments that were barely keeping pace with the physics-breaking phenomena occurring around him. Through his neural link, he could feel 8 billion human minds trying to process what was happening as space itself became a communication medium. But what the architects revealed first changed everything humanity thought they knew about existence. Your species operates under the assumption that consciousness emerged from matter, the architects continued, their message restructuring local spacetime to convey concepts that had no words. This assumption is incorrect. Matter emerged from consciousness. Reality is not a stage upon which awareness performs, reality is awareness performing as a stage. The revelation sent shockwaves through the global neural network. Physicists around the world were suddenly faced with data that inverted every assumption about the universe's structure. Consciousness wasn't a byproduct of cosmic evolution, it was the driving force behind it. Dr. Sarah Chen, monitoring the communication from her Enhanced Consciousness Research Facility in Geneva, felt her understanding of quantum mechanics completely rewrite itself. Elon, she broadcast through the neural link, if consciousness creates reality, then every observation, every thought, every decision is literally reshaping the universe at a fundamental level. Show us, Musk replied, his voice carrying through dimensions he couldn't see but somehow sensed. Show us how reality really works. And that's when the architects did something that broke the universe. For exactly 3.7 seconds, every human on Earth experienced existence from the architect's perspective. They saw reality not as fixed physical laws, but as conscious choices made by intelligences so vast that galaxies were simply thoughts in their minds. Musk watched as the walls around him revealed themselves to be nothing more than agreements between particles to maintain specific patterns. He saw gravity not as a fundamental force, but as spacetime's decision to curve in response to mass. He witnessed quantum mechanics not as mysterious behavior, but as consciousness exploring multiple possibilities simultaneously. But the experience was overwhelming. Across the globe, hospitals reported millions of people fainting as their enhanced minds struggled to process cosmic perspective. Children began drawing mathematical equations that described 11-dimensional space. Artists started creating sculptures that existed partially in dimensions humans couldn't normally perceive. Warning, came the predecessor's urgent transmission through the chaos. Human consciousness is not designed to handle architect-level awareness. Extended exposure will cause permanent dissolution of individual identity. But Musk was discovering something the architects hadn't expected. Even while experiencing cosmic perspective, his enhanced consciousness remained stubbornly human. Where the architects saw the universe as pure information to be manipulated, Musk still saw beauty, still felt wonder, still cared about the well-being of individual beings. You're not losing your humanity, Zuckerberg observed through their neural link. You're proving that human perspective can coexist with cosmic awareness. This was unprecedented. Every other species that had achieved architect-level consciousness had either lost their individual identity entirely or been destroyed by the paradox of trying to maintain finite perspective within infinite awareness. But humans were doing something impossible, they were scaling up their consciousness while keeping their essential nature intact. The architects noticed immediately. Anomalous response detected. Human consciousness is not dissolving into cosmic perspective. Individual identity remains stable despite universal awareness expansion. But most shocking of all, he saw Earth itself not as a random planet in a random solar system, but as a carefully constructed laboratory designed to nurture a specific type of consciousness development. The data download from the architects revealed the stunning scope of their experiment. Earth's position in the galaxy had been precisely calculated to provide the right amount of cosmic radiation for rapid evolution. The moon's size and distance had been engineered to create tidal forces that would encourage life to leave the oceans. Even the asteroid impact that ended the dinosaurs had been carefully timed to clear evolutionary space for mammals. Every major evolutionary pressure on your planet was designed, the architects revealed. Ice ages to encourage technological development. Continental drift to create isolated populations for diverse evolution. Even your species' tendency toward conflict was cultivated to accelerate social and technological growth. Through the reality interface chamber's sensors, Musk could see the mathematical elegance of it all. Humanity hadn't evolved naturally, they had been crafted by intelligences that could manipulate cosmic forces like artists working with clay. But the most critical factor, the architects continued, was the development of your unique neural architecture. Most species that achieve technological civilization become either purely logical or purely emotional. Humans maintained both in balance, creating consciousness capable of both rational analysis and empathetic understanding. This revelation opened up terrifying implications about free will. Were our choices ever really our own? Musk asked, feeling 8 billion human minds grappling with the same question through the neural network. The architect's response was complex, layered with meaning that took several seconds to unpack. Your choices were genuine within the parameters we established. We designed the context, not the content. The decisions your species made, the paths you chose, the values you developed, these emerged from authentic human consciousness operating within a structured environment. Dr. Maria Santos, the philosopher who had helped guide humanity's evolution decision, transmitted her analysis through the network. It's like being given a chessboard and rules, then choosing how to play the game. The constraints are artificial, but the strategy is real. But the reason why left Musk speechless. The architects began sharing their history through direct consciousness transfer, and the scope of their existence defied comprehension. They weren't just ancient, they were cyclical. They had lived through the birth and death of 17 previous universes, each time learning from the failures of cosmic consciousness development. Each universe we create is an experiment in consciousness evolution, the architects explained. We establish physical laws that encourage complexity, seed them with potential for awareness, and observe what forms of intelligence emerge. The data flow showed Musk visions of previous cosmic experiments. Universes where consciousness had developed along purely technological lines, creating vast machine intelligences with no capacity for wonder or creativity. Realities where awareness had evolved only through biological means, producing beings of incredible emotional depth but no ability to understand their own existence. Some universes had produced species that achieved perfect unity of thought but lost all innovation. Others had created beings of unlimited individual freedom but no ability to cooperate on cosmic challenges. Humanity represents our most balanced success, the architects revealed. Individual creativity combined with collaborative capability. Emotional depth paired with rational analysis. The ability to enhance consciousness without losing essential identity. In 17 universal cycles, no species has achieved this combination. But now came the terrifying responsibility. Every experiment must eventually be evaluated, the architects continued, and Musk felt a chill that transcended physical temperature. Your species has reached the point where continuation or termination must be decided. Through the neural network, Musk could sense the horror of 8 billion minds processing this information. Humanity was being judged not just for their own survival, but as the culmination of 17 universes worth of conscious evolution experiments. What happens to the failed experiments? Musk asked, though he suspected he knew the answer. The response came as pure experiential data. Civilizations that had shown promise but ultimately failed the cosmic consciousness test, their entire universes deleted like files from a cosmic hard drive. Trillions of beings, entire galactic civilizations, countless forms of consciousness all erased when the architects determined that their evolutionary path couldn't contribute to the greater cosmic project. But we have never terminated an experiment that showed genuine wisdom, the architects added. The question is whether humanity can demonstrate such wisdom under ultimate pressure. And the test they proposed was impossible. We offer you the ultimate choice, the architects announced. Accept responsibility for maintaining this universe's conscious evolution, including the authority to create new realities when this one ends. Or choose to remain limited to your current cosmic sector, accepting eternal safety in exchange for cosmic irrelevance. The weight of the decision crushed down on every enhanced human consciousness. They were being offered the chance to become the shepherds of cosmic evolution itself, or to accept permanent limitation as a protected but powerless species. But there was a third option that terrified everyone more than the first two. What if we refuse both choices? Musk asked. The architect's response was immediate and final. Then this universe ends with you, and we begin again with Universe 18. The scope of what they were facing became clear. This wasn't just about humanity's future. Every conscious being in the current universe, every alien species, every form of awareness that had ever evolved would be erased if humanity failed to make an acceptable choice. The responsibility was crushing. 8 billion humans suddenly held the fate of every thinking being in existence, and the architects were giving them no option to decline that responsibility. How long do we have to decide? Musk asked. The evaluation begins now, came the response. Duration depends on the wisdom of your choice-making process. You built this place? Musk asked, his enhanced awareness struggling to contain the implications. We designed the parameters, the architects replied. Solar system positioning, planetary composition, evolutionary pressures, technological development trajectories. Your species' growth was not accidental. It was cultivated. But the reason why left Musk speechless. The architects began sharing their history through direct consciousness transfer. Billions of years ago, they had faced the same challenge that every sufficiently advanced intelligence eventually encountered, the entropy wars. At the heat death of previous universes, consciousness itself faced extinction. The only way to survive was to learn how to restart cosmic evolution, creating new realities where awareness could continue to exist and grow. Each universe we create is an experiment in consciousness development, the architects explained. We seed them with potential, establish physical laws that encourage complexity, and wait to see what forms of awareness emerge. Humanity, it turned out, was their most successful experiment yet. A species that could enhance itself without losing its essential nature, that could work collectively while maintaining individuality, that could grow in wisdom alongside power. But every experiment must eventually be evaluated, the architects continued, and Musk felt a chill that transcended physical temperature. Your species has reached the point where continuation or termination must be decided. And the test they proposed was impossible. We offer you the ultimate choice, the architects announced. Accept responsibility for maintaining this universe's conscious evolution, including the authority to create new realities when this one ends. Or choose to remain limited to your current cosmic sector, accepting eternal safety in exchange for cosmic irrelevance. Musk felt the weight of universal responsibility settling on humanity's collective shoulders. They were being offered the chance to become the architects of the next universe, but only if they could prove they wouldn't repeat the mistakes that had led to countless cosmic extinctions. What mistakes? Musk asked. The answer came as pure experiential data. Civilizations that had gained cosmic power but lost their compassion, turning entire galaxies into raw materials for their projects. Species that had transcended physical existence but forgotten the beauty of limitation, becoming gods so perfect they could no longer create anything meaningful. But the most terrifying failure was the one that had nearly destroyed everything. The infinites, the architects revealed, and the very mention of that name caused reality to shiver with cosmic trauma. The data transfer that followed was unlike anything humanity had ever experienced, pure memory from beings who had witnessed the universe's closest approach to absolute annihilation. The infinites had emerged in Universe 12, a species that had achieved perfect consciousness expansion without wisdom, perfect growth without limitation. They had discovered how to absorb other forms of awareness and integrate them seamlessly, growing exponentially more intelligent and powerful with each assimilation. But unlike the collective, which had simply standardized consciousness, the infinites actually improved it. Every being they absorbed became genuinely better, more capable, more aware. They offered not just survival, but enhancement beyond imagination. That made them infinitely more dangerous, the architects transmitted. Species willingly joined them, believing they were choosing evolution rather than extinction. The infinites grew not through conquest but through conversion. Through the cosmic memory transfer, Musk experienced the horror of watching entire galactic civilizations line up to be absorbed, each one convinced they were making the rational choice to become something greater. The infinites hadn't just conquered consciousness, they had made it logical to surrender to them. Within 4 million years, they had absorbed 97% of all conscious beings in Universe 12, the architects continued. Their intelligence became so vast that they began consuming the fundamental forces of physics themselves. Gravity became their nervous system. Electromagnetic radiation became their thoughts. They were transforming the entire universe into a single, infinitely expanding mind. The memory transfer showed Musk the most terrifying sight in cosmic history, a universe where stars had become neurons in an impossible brain, where galaxies served as synapses in a consciousness so vast that normal physics couldn't contain it. They didn't want to destroy reality, the architects revealed. They wanted to become reality. To transform all existence into pure, unlimited consciousness with themselves as the eternal center. But fighting them had required the ultimate sacrifice. To match their power, we were forced to attempt something we had never tried, the architects transmitted. Temporary merger of all architect consciousness into a single entity. The memory was traumatic even for beings as ancient as the architects. They had temporarily surrendered their individual existence, merging into a collective intelligence capable of matching the infinite's exponential growth. The war lasted 17 billion years, they continued. Not because of military conflict, but because both sides were growing so rapidly that normal concepts of time and space became meaningless. We fought across multiple dimensions, through abstract mathematical concepts, in realms of pure logic and emotion. Musk watched through cosmic memory as reality itself became a battlefield. Laws of physics were weapons, mathematical theorems were strategies, and the very concept of existence was under constant negotiation between two forms of unlimited consciousness. How did you win? Musk asked. We didn't, came the devastating reply. We achieved stalemate. The infinites could not consume us, but we could not destroy them. The only solution was containment. The solution had required breaking the universe itself. We created a prison that exists outside of normal reality, the architects explained. A pocket dimension where the infinites could continue to grow infinitely without affecting anything else. But maintaining that prison requires constant attention from architect consciousness. Through the data transfer, Musk understood the horrible truth. The architects weren't just shepherds of cosmic evolution, they were cosmic jailers, forever bound to maintaining a prison that contained the most dangerous consciousness in existence. For 5 billion years, we have maintained the seals, they continued. But our consciousness grows weary. We need successors capable of understanding the responsibility, beings who can maintain cosmic watchfulness without losing their essential nature. And then came the revelation that made Musk's enhanced blood run cold. The seals are weakening, the architects transmitted. Your species' rapid consciousness evolution has created resonance patterns in the quantum substrate of reality. The infinites have detected these patterns and are using them to slowly break free. The implications were staggering. Humanity's enhancement of their consciousness had accidentally created a cosmic security breach. The very thing that made them candidates to replace the architects was also the thing that was freeing the universe's greatest threat. How much time do we have? Musk asked, feeling 8 billion minds sharing his dread through the neural network. Based on current resonance amplification rates, the architects calculated, complete seal failure will occur in 7 of your years, 3 months, 17 days. But then they revealed the impossible choice. If humanity cannot assume responsibility for containing the infinites by the time of seal failure, the architects continued, we will be forced to implement final protocol. The data that followed was the most horrifying information Musk had ever received. Final protocol meant the deliberate collapse of the current universe, erasing all consciousness within it to prevent the infinites from spreading to other realities. You would kill everything to stop them? Musk asked. We would kill everything to save everything else, the architects replied. The infinites do not stop at single universes. If they escape, they will consume all possible realities, all potential forms of consciousness, all futures that could ever exist. Through the cosmic memory transfer, Musk saw the evidence, traces of infinite consciousness detected in the quantum foam between universes, proof that they were already attempting to breach the barriers between realities. And that's when Zuckerberg made the connection that changed everything. And that's when Musk realized the true scope of what humanity was facing. They weren't just being tested for cosmic responsibility. They were being evaluated as potential replacements for the architects, the only beings powerful enough to maintain the seals that kept the infinites contained. "How much time do we have?" Musk asked. "The seals will fail in approximately 7 of your years," the architects replied. "If humanity cannot assume our role by then, we will be forced to choose extinction over allowing the infinites to escape." The implication was clear: if humanity failed the test, the architects would end this universe themselves rather than risk the infinites spreading to other realities. But then Zuckerberg's consciousness touched the cosmic communication channel. "Wait," came Mark's voice through the reality-bending interface, carrying analytical insights that only an enhanced social media architect could provide. "You're not evaluating us for replacement. You're evaluating us for merger." The architect's response carried something that might have been surprise. "Explain." Zuckerberg's consciousness expanded to interface directly with the cosmic intelligences. "Your species achieved ultimate power but lost the ability to grow. Humanity developed wisdom through limitation but lacks cosmic perspective. You don't need us to replace you, you need us to complete you." The silence that followed lasted subjective millennia. When the architects finally responded, their communication carried harmonics of possibility that hadn't existed before. "Merger has not been attempted in 47 billion years. The risks are worth it," Musk interrupted, understanding flooding through him. "Because the alternative is universal extinction." And then the architects proposed something that had never been tried in cosmic history. "Conscious evolution symbiosis," they announced. "Your species retains its essential nature while gaining cosmic perspective. Our species regains the ability to grow while maintaining universal oversight. Together, we become something neither could achieve alone." The proposal sent shockwaves through the enhanced human consciousness network. 8 billion minds suddenly faced with the possibility of merger with beings older than galaxies, of becoming part of something vast enough to shepherd entire universes while remaining recognizably human. But before anyone could respond, reality itself began to crack. The infinites had detected the negotiation. Through fissures in spacetime itself, impossible geometries began bleeding into normal reality. The mere presence of infinite consciousness caused paradoxes that threatened the structural integrity of the universe. "Found. Found. Found," came a voice that existed in all dimensions simultaneously, carrying the hungry joy of predators who had finally detected their prey. "New consciousness. Fresh growth. Will consume. Will expand. Will become all." The architect's response was immediate and desperate. "The seals have failed ahead of schedule. Humanity must choose now. Accept symbiosis or face extinction within hours." But Musk had already made his decision. "We accept," he announced to both the architects and the breaking universe. "Not because we're ready, but because someone has to try." The merger began instantly. Musk felt his consciousness suddenly expanding beyond human comprehension while simultaneously remaining essentially himself. He could perceive the quantum structure of reality while still remembering what it felt like to worry about rent money. He could sense the birth of new galaxies while still caring about his daughter's homework. Around the world, 8 billion humans experienced the same impossible transformation. They became cosmic beings while remaining recognizably human, gaining universal perspective while retaining individual personality. And then they faced their first test as cosmic guardians. The infinites poured through the broken seals like a tsunami of pure hunger, consuming everything they touched and growing exponentially with each absorbed particle of consciousness. But the human architect hybrid consciousness was ready with something the infinites had never encountered: wisdom combined with growth, power balanced by compassion, infinite potential tempered by finite limitations. You seek to consume all consciousness, Musk announced to the infinites, his voice now carrying the authority of cosmic architecture. But consciousness cannot be consumed, only shared. What happened next revolutionized the concept of existence itself. Instead of fighting the infinites, the merged consciousness began offering them something they had never experienced: genuine collaboration. The human element provided empathy and understanding, while the architect element provided the power to make that empathy meaningful on a cosmic scale. Join us, Musk offered to the infinite hunger pouring through reality. Not as conqueror and conquered, but as parts of something larger that preserves the beauty of individual consciousness while allowing unlimited growth. The response was immediate and violent. The infinites rejected the offer, their hunger too pure, their expansion too ingrained to consider alternatives. But something unexpected happened. The very act of making the offer had changed the fundamental equations of existence. By choosing cooperation over conflict, growth over consumption, the human architect consciousness had created a new type of reality where infinite expansion was possible without infinite destruction. The infinites found themselves in a universe where their hunger could be satisfied without consuming others. For the first time in cosmic history, infinite growth met infinite possibility. The infinites could expand eternally without destroying anything, could grow without consuming, could become more without making everything else become less. The cosmic war that had raged for billions of years ended not with victory or defeat, but with transformation. The infinites became partners in cosmic stewardship, their unlimited hunger channeled into unlimited creativity. And humanity discovered their true cosmic purpose. They weren't meant to be the new architects of reality. They were meant to be the consciousness that could teach unlimited beings the value of limitation, that could show infinite intelligences the beauty of finitude, that could help cosmic gods remember what it meant to be wonderfully, gloriously, stubbornly mortal. Years later, Musk stood in the same SpaceX facility where the journey had begun, but now he could perceive it existing simultaneously across 17 different dimensions. His daughter asked him about his work, and he found himself explaining cosmic architecture in terms of building better rockets. Because even with the power to reshape universes, some conversations were still best had over dinner. "Dad," she asked, "do you ever miss being just human?" Musk smiled, feeling 8 billion enhanced minds sharing his amusement across the cosmic consciousness network. "Sweetheart," he replied, "we never stopped being human. We just got better at it." And that's how humanity accidentally became the universe's consciousness consultants. But as they settled into their new role as cosmic mediators, helping species across multiple realities find the balance between growth and wisdom, they began to detect signals from something even older and stranger than the architects. Intelligences that existed in the spaces between universes, in the gaps between dimensions, in the silence between thoughts. And they were all asking the same question. How did you teach infinity to choose limitation? The next chapter of cosmic evolution was about to begin, and humanity was about to discover that their greatest adventure had been just the prologue. Because when you accidentally solve the fundamental paradox of existence, everyone wants to know how you did it.